The 5 Podcast.
5 Podcast.
Hey, you guys, it's Haley. Welcome back to Ask Haley on the 5 Podcast. It's been a minute. I had not done an Ask Haley in like a week, maybe 2. I always tell you guys it's so hard with running the business, having the podcast, being a stepmom, being a fiance, being a friend, being a full-time police officer. You know what? I should just suck it up and do it and stop complaining, right? I'm trying. So today I just want to say that I interviewed someone amazing, and I already knew she was amazing, but I did not know how truly amazing she actually was. Her name is Tara. She's on TikTok and Instagram as the Girl Cop. You probably already follow her if you follow me, but she is so awesome and so cool. And we talked a lot about being a female voice in law enforcement, and she just spoke so eloquently, and I truly look up to her. I love her content. She's a mom, so she does share like a lot of safety tips for children, and then she does like a lot of stuff too where she's worked in special victims units, sex trafficking and stuff like that. So she gives it a lot of awesome tips for people watching her content. So she's like really does amazing things with her platform. And I appreciate that from her so much. But she spoke about something today, which was funny because before I got on the podcast with her, I had posted a video earlier today about taking that chance and being unapologetic and posting that video or taking that chance or whatever it may be, that this is your sign. And when we talked, you know, she was talking about making her TikTok and then also like being the first female officer at her department and how it's okay to be uncomfortable, how it's okay to not know how things are going to turn out. But if you just take that chance on yourself and be comfortable in being uncomfortable and say yes to open doors and opportunities, that like good things will come to you. And it just really resonated with me because today, I was just kind of looking back and reflecting on like how far I've come in a year. And I truly have had a lot of criticism, but I've had so much more positive impact, people reaching out, girls starting the academy, you know, with help of my mentorship, you know, with my podcast, people being able to listen to stories of these voices that need to be heard. And so I've just been putting myself out there regardless of, you know, what's said or, you know, whatever. And I just want to say that since putting myself out there and letting the negativity go, I've had endless opportunities. And I'm sharing this because I want the same for you. When I tell you that I started my business a year ago. Okay, I run it by myself. It's a female-owned small business run by one single person. When I tell you that a year ago, when I started in April, so it's been a little over a year. When I tell you, if you would have told me a year later, I would have almost 8,000 followers and over 1 million views on my business page, I would have told you, holy shit. In the last 30 days, I've had over 1 million views on my business page. That's insane to me. 1 million? That's a lot. I'm not here to toot my own horn. I'm here to tell you that you could be the same. And if you just take that opportunity on yourself and don't quit, there were so many times I wanted to quit, you guys. There were so many times I wanted to just be done. Whether it was timing, whether it was criticism, whether it was just life or whatever, I wanted to stop at certain times. And I did not stop. I did not give up on myself. Then the other day I had a really cool interview. I can't talk about it yet, but by next month I will be able to. And it's a bucket list thing for me. It's amazing. I've been reached out to by several other big platforms for really cool opportunities that I also can't share. Would these have happened to me if I never put myself out there? If I quit? If I listened to what trolls said? No, I would never, ever, ever be in this place. My shirt was worn on a live news channel the other day on Newsmax by a female first responder, female advocate. She was wearing my shirt on TV. Like, I just want you guys to know, just to like take these chances and just to like continue believing in yourself. As long as you do things with a good heart and good intentions, you will not lose. That's truth. So I hope that resonates with you. I hope that if you're wondering, this is your sign. Like, trust me, I did not start with a bunch of followers. I did not start with knowing what kind of content I was going to do. I had no idea a year later I'd have a podcast. I didn't know I would have, 45,000 followers. I was nothing. Like, I just shared stuff unapologetically. And you are special and you were created for a reason. Your personality is the way it is for a reason. You look the way you are for a reason. You can share the things and the experiences that you've had for a reason. So like, do it. If it's calling you, do it. Like, we want to hear your story. And like, trust me, doors will open. Like, if I could just tell you all the opportunities I've gotten in the last like month or two, you would probably do it. Like, this is insane. And it's like dream come true kind of stuff. And we could all be that way. But you've got to stay consistent and you've got to believe in yourself. But let's get to the questions, because that's the core of what Ask Haley is. And I haven't been really good with it. But I definitely want to be. So we're just going to pick a random question. I have like 160 of them in here. Okay. So this is my first question. Hey, I love watching your TikToks. How is it making the lateral move from CPD to Florida? I want to move to Florida. And I've been thinking about moving to Fort Lauderdale or Orlando. So I did actually respond to this girl, just my initial response, and I asked her if she had a family or if she's single, because it does make a difference. So to start, if you're, and she did say she has a family, so I'll go on top of that. But just to start, if you are a single girl or guy, definitely you're a guy, and you're thinking about making this move, I do think it'll be easier. Because when you're doing life changes on your own and you're not kind of taking other people with you, and you don't have that responsibility of like making other people happy in a new area or place, I think it's probably much easier. So when I moved here, I had my fiance, so I moved in with him. So I had a place to live, which definitely helped, because it is expensive here, by the way. But I didn't bring other people with me. And I think that being accountable for my own move and my own feelings, emotions, whatever, although it's hard, it is easier in the sense that like I didn't bring a kid from a whole nother state or a spouse or whatever, because I have heard of other people who have transferred down here with their families, with their spouse and their children, and a few of them I do know did go back. I think it's hard to adjust here coming from the Midwest or coming from like New York or like Eastern areas like the Carolinas or whatever, with a family, because we are, from the Midwest, at least I could say, a lot more fast paced. And Florida is just not like that. And I'm a city girl, and Florida's just not like that. So I love walking, and I love like walking to coffee shops or like walking around, and Florida's not like that. Like, you don't really walk anywhere. You have to drive everywhere. And for just the little things like that, for family, spouses to adjust to, I think it's going to be way harder. So my advice, if you have a family and you really are truly coming down here, is that you may love to vacation here, but vacationing here is a lot different than living. That's just point blank, period. So I would suggest, although it's great to bring your family down here for a visit and like do fun stuff like Disney or like going to the pools or whatever, I think you gotta show them the reality of it and maybe not plan so many fun things and maybe just come down here for a week and just like live like normal and see if you like it, because it's really slow paced, or at least for me, it's slow paced. And if your family is used to fast pace and just a different lifestyle, it's going to be hard for them to adjust, and you're going to feel a lot of pressure that they are here because of you. So that's just one thing I would definitely keep in mind. But I think if you're single and you're thinking of making that move, I've moved other places in my life and I may have not liked it, but I don't regret it. And I don't regret those experiences. And while you don't have a family or a husband or a wife or kids, like I am maybe the wrong person to ask, but I think that you need to take those opportunities. And I think you need to take those chances because we're only getting older, and like experiences do have like an expiration date. And if you're thinking of coming down here, do it. And I have it tattooed on my arm, but I have a tattoo that says home is always home. So if for some reason the move fails or you don't like it, home is always home. You could always go back. So don't forget that. But also, I will say, if you do have a family and you're moving for like the safety of your family, I do believe that it's a little safer here. And like, I do think that building a family here is nice because of the lifestyle and the quality of life. So if that's a reason, and you can get over that like first year or two initial hump of like how different it is, I do think that like having your family here is a better quality of life in a lot of aspects, like the school system, from that to shoveling snow out of your driveway, like either way. So hopefully that kind of helps answer your question. Okay. So I have another question. All right. This is kind of a long question. Hi. So real quick, I'm an SRO. I'm fresh out of the academy. This is my first apartment and been here going on 5 months. So I wanted to message you because I'm struggling on finding myself. Before I became an officer, I knew who I was. I was super bubbly, shy, girly, and sweet. I've always had the heart to help others, and that's why I knew this career is what I wanted to do. However, I don't know if it's just my department, but I have to put a whole different persona on someone I'm not. Tougher maybe, ? And because of that, it's confusing me and who I should really act and be. Then I have coworkers telling me one thing about a superior, and then the next it's like, I can't trust anyone. So who do you trust? Who do you believe truly wants to see you do great? There's so much jealousy, two-faced drama, none of which I'm involved in, but it's still an overall sticky situation to be in. I've seen your content and wanted to see if maybe you'd have some words of encouragement to help me with what I'm going through. Thanks. So if you're listening, number one, the podcast that I have coming out next week and the week after are both with female officers. And they're both very powerful women that have pretty much, I mean, all of us have been through this and through your situation. So I really encourage you to listen to the next two podcasts I have, because we really dive into like being underestimated as a woman and overcoming things in the career and drama and all of that. So definitely do that. But let's tackle the first thing that you said. And I this is perfect timing because the podcast that I just wrapped up again with Tara, we talked about trying not to be someone you're not in this career, because you as a human being, the reason, like she said, the reason she got into this career field is because she loved helping people. And we need you, and we need good cops. And there have been times, same, and Tara said the same too, like that we've kind of like, she said this really well, that she's watched other people in her field do really great at certain things. And she's tried to like emulate that and be like them. But at the end of the day, like what she's really good at, maybe they're not good at. And instead of emulating what you think you should be like or what other top dogs are like, just do what you're good at, and that'll actually help you in the long run, because maybe they're really good at one thing that you're not good at, and you're just constantly trying to be as good as them at something because to you that they look really good. But you don't know who's looking at you and thinking that you're doing something really good that they might not be able. So let's say, for instance, if it's like some big dude and he's really good at just establishing presence, let's say on a traffic stop, and the way this guy does traffic stops, you feel like you can't do it that way. And he's just very strict, and he writes everyone tickets, and he's getting noticed because he has so many traffic stops and activity. And you're like, I got to be like that guy. He might be looking at you on certain calls and situations where your de-escalation tactics are a lot better than his. You're able to talk people down off the ledge, or you're able to, comfort people in times of like serious crisis and connect with men and women that he's not able to do. So you have to just do what calls to you and not try to match or be like someone else, because everyone brings something different to the table. And the people that are constantly trying to be like someone else and not be themselves, they're never going to be satisfied and are always going to be reaching. So in your situation, the fact that you feel like you have to be tougher or be like someone else, I would say it has a lot to do with you being new and probably finding yourself in this career, because I kind of did feel the same. There was days, right, where I'd like wear makeup, like what I'm wearing now, like not much, right? And I would be nervous going into work. Like, are people going to judge me because I have like mascara on? Like, you know what? If I like wearing mascara, like who gives a shit, right? So now I don't care at all. But yes, there was days where I felt like I shouldn't because the other women weren't, and I felt like I couldn't be different, right? Or be myself. Now I'm so unapologetically myself that like, oh, that's a Haley thing, it's like so night and day now from where I was before. But I would say a lot of it's because you're new and you're finding yourself in this career. I don't know how you're an SRO after just graduating the academy, but I would really suggest, if possible, or if you're open to it, is to go on the road, because that's where you'll learn who you are as an officer the most. It's just like taking calls, doing traffic stops, like dealing with the day-to-day people and the day-to-day good calls, bad calls, whatever it may be, working with other officers, and like getting to know people, making friends. So if you're open to that, I would definitely go on the road, because being an SRO might not be fulfilling to you, and you might want to do that later on in your career. Or maybe you can do both. I don't know how your department works. But you do not have to put on this tough exterior to be a good cop. And you do not have to act like something that you're not to be a good cop. I'm tough when I need to be. Absolutely. But like yelling at people all the time, or like establishing like my dominance all the time, like it's just not me. So like why, I go into things like, trust me, if I'm having a bad day, I might just like be real tough all day. Like I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I typically like to go into situations and just say, how can I help you? What did you call me here for today? And how can I help you? And like kind of just like get to the root cause. Cause like half the time, like if you just talk to them, sometimes it's not even a police matter. Sometimes these people just need people to talk to. But like de-escalation tactics, or maybe you're really good at talking to victims. And like you could be really helpful with victims' rights, or with special victims units, stuff like that. Like, or maybe you're really, really good at traffic, and you're really good at like locating hot cars and finding drugs and finding, guns. Like you don't know that until you work the road, until you figure out like who you are as an officer and what you like. And it took me a little bit to find out what I liked. There was times where I'd work with certain partners and I'd want to like match their energy and like act like I liked what they were doing, but I really didn't. And I think it's important to like speak up, because again, you are your own person, and what you like on the job might not be what other people like on the job. And that's okay, because they can utilize you. Tara said this earlier too, as a tool. So she explained this also really well, and you've got to listen to this interview, but every person that you work with is a tool. So someone might be, she said, like the hammer, and someone might be the screwdriver, and then the next day you might switch. But like you might reach for different tools in your toolbox. And just because you're not the hammer and you're the screwdriver, like doesn't mean that you're not important, because you might be putting things together. So think about it that way. I definitely want you to get more experience on the road, because I think maybe being an SRO right away is doing you a disservice of like learning the kind of officer that you want to be. And then as far as drama goes, it's sad, but I wish I could tell you that will change, but it won't. The only thing that'll get better is your self-security, your self-confidence, and your self-worth. That's the only thing that's going to get better, is the work on yourself. The drama, unfortunately, is not going to get any better. There will be men and women that hate you just because of the way you look, for no reason, maybe. Trust me, I've been through it all. You're going to wonder why someone doesn't like you for no reason. Who knows? Could be their own jealousy. Could be they're insecure about something that you're good at and they're going to take it out on you. But they really inside, they're jealous of something of you. Like, you don't know until you know, and you probably never will know. So you just need to be confident in your abilities of what you're good at. And that's what you need to like work on so that you can get to that place. Because again, it doesn't happen right away. But drama and jealousy, I just work off being kind to everyone. So like my main thing is like always being nice. So that at the end of the day, like if someone's talking shit or gossiping or whatever, I can just say like, well, I've been nothing but nice to them, so I don't know why. Or simply I don't know them and they're just saying something about someone they don't know, which is kind of embarrassing, because like, how are you going to talk about someone that you've never even had a conversation with? And that's on them. So for you, just be nice to everyone, so that if for some reason you are involved in the drama, you're saying you're not, which is great. But if for some reason you get tangled up in it, you can go to sleep at night, you can go to work knowing like, I've been nothing but nice to these people. I just do my job and I go home, and that's it, and keep it moving. I know for a fact that like every day going to work and I'm kind, and that's it. And if someone wants to say something, then that's on them. That's a them problem. And hopefully eventually you can get to that same place as I feel. And again, I want to reiterate that does not happen overnight. So you'll get there. But I don't want you to get to the place where you feel like you're always being someone different or always having to put on a front to where that you don't like the job anymore, because you feel like you're being someone that you're not. And you said like, oh, I used to be so bubbly and stuff. Like, trust me, at work, you can ask any of my coworkers, I'm so bubbly. I'm so loud. I'm always myself. I'm the crazy Haley, like whatever, because I'm so me out. And I just don't care anymore. Like, if you don't like it, then you don't like it, but I'm nice. So what can you really say? Just be you. Just be you. And like, oh, well, not everyone's going to like you. You're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. And that's okay. Think about it. At every job you work, whether you're a police officer or not, there's going to be drama in the workplace. There's going to be people that don't like you or want to compete with you. And that's just everywhere. So as long as you like this job and you think that there's something here for you or that you can help people, like stick with it, but just don't worry about being tough. Like, don't worry about, be tough when you need to be tough. Okay. Don't get me wrong, but you don't have to go into every call banging down a door. Like, you can be you can be bubbly you, and like you could solve a lot of problems. And you could be a really great officer being that bubbly girl that you say you are. So we need you. So don't leave. And just be confident in your abilities. And again, I think you should go on the road, because I think that would really help. So let's get to one other one. And that one's about pay. I don't know if I should talk about that, really. Well, the last thing I am just going to talk about is, I guess I'm going to play off that, and it's about finding yourself on this job and like just being true to who you are, because it just really is important. a lot of us women talk about how we're underestimated on this job. And I feel like sometimes we're fighting to prove ourselves because maybe we're smaller or because we are women. There's still men that have mindsets that we shouldn't have this job. But I just want to say that, and I've said it before, and I've posted videos about it too, and me and Tara talked about it today too, but being underestimated is not a bad thing. And I don't want you to take it as a bad thing. It's actually a flex, because then people don't ever know what's coming, and you have the opportunity and ability to surprise people. So why walk into a room and have people already expect what you're going to do? Why not surprise them? Right? Why not show them what they never knew you were able to do? And that's a beautiful thing. So today's Ask Haley was a little bit short, but what I want you to take away from this is bet on yourself. Do you. Be confident in your abilities, and stay true to who you are. Be unapologetically you. And if people don't like it, at least you're like, well, that's who I am. So whatever. If you're acting like something else and then people don't like you, it might hurt you more because you're trying to be something that they like. If you're just being you, well, whatever. Not everybody's cup of tea. That's okay. So have a great day. I'll see you guys next week. We have an awesome interview next week. It's with Erica. She's LA50 on Instagram. She has a ton of followers, but besides that, she's just an awesome human being, and like a super female, like powerful force to be reckoned with. And I can't wait for you guys to hear her story and how she's like literally rose to the top, such a top dog, but such a female advocate. So I can't wait for you to hear that. And yeah, love you guys. Be safe. See you next week.